Could HIMS be the next 2026 retail cult? Now, let me start with something very, very important. The biggest stock moves in history did not start with spreadsheets. They did not start with systems. They started with people, not hedge funds, not analysis, regular people. People who believed in a story and used a product and talked about it, and slowly, and then what felt like suddenly, it turned into a movement. That's what people mean when they say retail cult stock. And today, I want to explain why HIMS has the exact ingredients in my eyes to become one of those stocks in 2026 and beyond. Not a one-week meme, not a pump, a real retail cult, the kind that actually compounds.
Welcome to the game, it's the instant stocks by Mikhail Kuhar.
As many people in the trading space follow, we should be in a place with our portfolio. I personally believe in an 80-20 split, 80 in long-term and 20 in more shorter-term trades. That's why over the last 4 years, we've developed our AutoPilot software that can trade for you. One of the biggest things we've seen, speaking to hundreds and hundreds of people, myself included when I first started, that tried to get into day trading, lost money. On average, it's about $10,000 to $11,000 every time we speak to someone. That's what they lost in the market. And that's not to say, hey, they spent the 10 and now are successful after. Some just gave it up completely. Some started to put their money away into different stocks, and others kept going and lost even more. It's only a very small percent of people who try day trading who are actually successful. And why is that? Well, A, they just don't have the emotional intelligence and they're too reactive in moments, and they start trading from a place of emotion. Other part is just the time. Like, they don't have the time or skill to be able to interpret the data quick enough to see it worthwhile if they stick to it the long term. So what we've done over the last 4 years is develop our AutoPilot software that can trade for you. It's completely hands-off. This is like inviting professional traders into your house to trade on your behalf. These are guys who have already made millions in the space. And what we do with the software is they're able to send trades, buy and exit signals directly into your Interactive Brokers account without you needing to be there. All you got to do is turn it on once a day and let it go. Now, this has actually seen I'm recording this right now in February, the last 33 or 35 trades have been winners. We shoot for an average of 18 to 15% return every single month on your portfolio. So you need about $10,000 to allocate to trading. As soon as you have that, and if you want to find out more, there'll be a link on the video. Click that, book a call with me personally, and I'll walk you through the entire process and see if it's a good fit for you. If not, I'll tell you no. All good. But without further ado, let's get stuck into the video. Now, when people hear the words cult stock, they usually think it means dumb money or reckless gambling. That's not true. A real retail cult stock has 3 things. First, people understand the product instantly. Second, people actually use the product in real life. And third, people emotionally connect their identity to it. Once this happens, the stock stops trading like a spreadsheet and starts trading like a brand. One thing I really like that HIMS is doing, and when I see myself as like a piece of identity that I align with this, is proactive healthcare. It's not reactive. We're not waiting till the wheels completely fall off every area of life, or there's a massive, massive, massive need to go see a specialist or a GP or someone in the health space to get something sold. They're being proactive by tracking and managing data of what's already going on in your life and tailoring solutions for you. This is massive. And I don't want to go too far off track with this, but the speed AI is tracking right now and their ability to integrate this is going to be really, really powerful for the business. And look, people just aren't happy with the current healthcare system. So this is a perfect opportunity for a disruptor like HIMS to come into this. Now, if we come back to looking at the brand and the humans behind it, think Apple, think Tesla, think Amazon in the early days, and yes, sometimes even think GameStop. Like, let's start with the extreme example, GameStop. GameStop in 2021 was not about fundamentals. It was about community. It was about anger. It was about identity and narrative. Retail traders felt the system was rigged, so they saw hedge funds massively short the stock. At one point, short interest was over 100% of the float. That alone became fuel. But what really mattered was emotional buy-in. People weren't buying GameStop to value invest. They were buying it to be part of something bigger, to post screenshots to say, I was there. And the stock reflected exactly that. From under $21 to over $480 in a trade day in January 2021. That's what happens when belief outruns liquidity. And here's the key lesson, especially for HIMS. Price doesn't move first because of the fundamentals improve. Price moves when attention, emotion, and positioning all collide. Now, let's talk about the healthy version of a retail cult. Tesla. Tesla didn't become a cult because of memes. It became a cult because people used the product. People drove the cars, people posted the videos, and people publicly defended the company on social media and at dinner tables. Now, the important part with this is Tesla finally proved profitability in 2019. The stock reacted violently, and because belief met execution, from 2019 into 2020, Tesla went on one of the greatest retail-driven runs we've ever seen, and then went on to do over 700% alone in 2020. Then something else happened that always supercharges cult stocks: accessibility. Tesla did stock splits. The shares felt cheaper and more people could buy just one share. Retail participation exploded, and this is a golden formula. People use the product, they believe in the mission, the company executes, and retail keeps buying dips, and the stock compounds. See, this isn't just hype, that's behavioral finance. And if we look at a slightly different angle, Robinhood, it was really fascinating because the users are the investors. When Robinhood IPO'd, millions of people already had the app on their phones, so they knew the product, they had opinions about it, good or bad, but when the stock started moving, something wild really happened. The same people who traded on Robinhood were trading Robinhood stock. That's how you get violent moves. After IPO at $38, the stock ran to over $80 in a matter of days. Why? Not because earnings doubled overnight, because attention, familiarity, and access all came together. And this matters for HIMS. And Wall Street really doesn't like to admit this, but retail-facing companies have a structural advantage in the marketplace. If you can use the product, understand it in 10 seconds, and explain it to a friend, you're far more likely to hold the stock during drawdowns. I've seen this with helping businesses scale over the years. You ask them what they do, and they give you this long-winded 3-chapter, 14-paragraph viewpoint of what they do. It's not clear, it's not concise, and the only person that understands it is the owner. So you're far more likely to hold the stock during drawdowns if you understand what it is. And you have more buy-in because there's clarity, you understand what they do as a company. Enterprise software doesn't do that. Industrial companies don't do that. Consumer brands do. That's why cult stocks almost always start as a consumer story. If HIMS and Hers checks every retail cult box for me and people actually use the product, hair loss, skin, mental health, vitality, anti-aging, hormones, all these things. These are all personal problems, not abstract trends in the marketplace. People understand the business instantly. No doctor waiting room, online subscription delivered to your door. People talk about the product, they recommend it, they post before and after stories, and most importantly, people don't feel embarrassed owning the stock. They feel smart. That's the early Tesla effect. Now, imagine what happens if revenue keeps growing, if the brand expands globally. Now, I know we had a very big dip and slowdown in revenue, and I personally believe that was very much in line with the shortage of GLP-1s, and the revenue earnings slowed down and went down a bit because of that. Now, if this brand continues to expand globally as it's doing going into Europe and Canada, if the product catalog widens as it's doing, if marketing keeps resonating with Gen Z and millennials, at some point the stock stops being a trade and starts to become a belief. That's when retail cults are born. And the big pattern I'm seeing in this, the first phase, the stock is volatile. People argue, bears are really loud. The second phase, the company keeps executing. Revenue keeps going up, margins improve, and scale starts to show up then. The third phase is retail stops selling the dips. They start adding to the dips, and that's when price action changes to character-based action. See, Tesla went through this. Amazon went through this as well. Even Apple went through this. If HIMS enters this phase in 2026, you don't get linear returns. You get multiple expansion plus a belief premium that most of the time the stock price will just be a lag effect of the belief that people have in this company. That's how X10 outcomes happen, not overnight, through persistence. So when I say HIMS is the next 2026 retail cult, I don't mean memes. I don't mean gambling. I mean something more powerful that's deeper than a stock price. A company people understand, a product people use, a brand people defend. And when that lines up with execution, retail doesn't ask, is this expensive? They start to ask, how many shares do I own? That's how cult stocks are really born. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Where do you see HIMS going in 2026? We have the earnings coming out very, very soon at the end of February. I'd love to hear where you think HIMS is going in 2026 and 2027. As always, I make videos on here daily, so subscribe down below and I'll see you tomorrow in a video.